Okay. All right, everyone. Let's say filthy developers together. Down with five. Filthy developers.
They build crap houses as well.
We might fall down in a few years.
Actually, I think it's much better if you're not really...
On the badger cull issue, I'm familiar probably to many of you going around the country talking about why we shouldn't be killing these animals to try and reduce bovine TB. But firstly, I'd like to pay credit to Linda and everyone here in the local Badger Trust and community about what they've been doing to try and stop this development. I know you're very, very disappointed and angry with what's happened here with the destruction of these badger setts, and you're absolutely right to be. But that's not because you haven't campaigned and worked hard. You've got into the media, you've really made people sit up and think, and you've made an impact, and that's why we're here today. You know, we have lost this battle, but we're not going to lose this war. We need to stand up and protect these animals. Development, as I was saying on the radio as you were this morning, is a crucial factor in terms of the future protection of badgers. At the moment, they're under threat from farmers and landowners, badger baiters. They're gassed, they're shot, they're snared, but also they're under real pressure from property developers. If you look at a place like Oxfordshire here, outside of Oxford, a few miles, Kidlington, Oxford is now the fastest growing area in terms of property prices anywhere outside of London. So it's no surprise to me that a developer that's had this land for an extensive period of time has now decided it's time to cash in the money and to build a house on it. Let's be clear about what's happened here. The developer has come in and has got approval through the planning process in the council, has got approval through Natural England to destroy a badger set that's probably 20, 30, 40 years old. To destroy the home of a protected species, to build a 5-bedroom executive home, which will probably turn around £600,000 profit to the developer in question. He clearly stated at the very beginning of this process he was going to be living with his family in this home. That's clearly not going to happen from what we understand now. It's going to be sold on to someone else. The roulette machine of the property market is being played again. Yes, you have an artificial set that's been established a bit further down on land that this gentleman owns and this development company owns. But we're not certain about the long-term benefits of artificial sets. In my view, they're a get-out-of-jail-free card for development. Natural England says, you build an artificial set, we'll allow you to do what you want in terms of the existing set to destroy it. Well, they might not well go back into that artificial set, these badgers. We believe where it's located, it could be subject to flooding, and that obviously is going to be a key issue. And not only that, they've been allowed to actually go in and do what they've done here right into the middle of December, to extend the licence into when the actual animals could be breeding. And as we said on the radio this morning, that's disgraceful. We haven't had a clear explanation from Natural England why that licence extension was granted, knowing that there are key factors they need to consider in terms of welfare. So what's happened to the badgers here? We're not certain. They could go into another area and there could be confrontations with different groups of badgers. They could be forced into the road where they could be killed. You could have forced them out of their home at a time when they're beginning to breed, which will not just have an impact on them, but on the cubs as well that are being born. There is no good element of this decision-making process. And this is not an isolated case. There are hundreds of cases up and down the country where there are similar property developments going on. Where I'm living in Milton Keynes at the moment, they're building 6,000 homes from where I'm living on the western flank of Milton Keynes all the way to Stony Stratford over the next 8 years. And I see more dead badgers than ever before on the side of the roads now, as they start to put in the foundations and pipes and everything for that huge development project. And that's just another example of where the impact is coming on these animals. And the Natural England, as a process and a body that's meant to protect these animals, is not fit for purpose in my view. Andrew Sells, the new chairman appointed by our friend Owen Patterson when he was Environment Secretary last year, is a former chairman of a major housing development corporation. That is a huge conflict of interest. When you appoint a chairman of an organisation like that, you set the whole tone of the policy throughout the organisation, right down to the junior bureaucrats that will be coming out on sites like this to make decisions about the future of these badgers. If they're being told from the chairman and chief executive down that you go softly on property developers, you don't make their life difficult, then the poor badger is going to lose. I'm afraid this Conservative-led coalition has given the green light to property development. If you speak to people like George Osborne and listen to what they have to say, God help you, they will tell you that, they don't want regulation, they don't want stops being put on property developments because of otters, newts and badgers and other species. They want a free pass as much as possible to develop property across the country, and this is the result. And this is wrong. And we, as a population who care about the future of our wildlife and its protection, must make a stand. This isn't just not in my backyard. You know, we've just been speaking to the lady across the road there that was willing to actually buy this land, to secure it for the future, to not build on it. And the developer clearly refused to actually sell it because they know they couldn't make the 600,000 plus money on it by selling it to just conserve it for the future. That's how bad this type of decision is.
Shame.
So we must keep fighting. So Badger Trust next year or this year, I can assure you that we will put property development and the threats to Badger Setts as a #1 priority. We're going to be meeting with our friend Liz Truss in the next few weeks at DEFRA. I'm looking forward to that meeting. We have a long list of issues that we've already put on the agenda. This is going to be added because I really do want to talk about this particular site. So what I'm going to be doing is going back to the local Badger group here, getting all the details. When we meet her, we'll be throwing all the evidence at her to say, how the hell was this decision taken? And if we don't get the answers we're seeking, we'll take it back to the press as well. I had a good discussion with the Sunday Times on this recently. They're interested in doing more on this issue. So I think what you've done is you've stoked interest in the national media. If it's happening here, where else is it happening? How are the decisions being taken at local council level? How are the decisions being taken by the developers? What are the relationships they have with Natural England? They are serious issues that we need to be looking at, not just for badgers, but for all our species of wildlife that are so important to us. So keep fighting. You've started a battle here. It isn't over. There is more that we need to do. It is sad to see the destruction of this set. We can only hope that the badgers themselves will survive and will colonise potentially the artificial set or move on somewhere else. But we can't be certain. So let's just remain vigilant. And we're here in memorial, really, today of what bad decisions have been taken. But I'm really, really pleased that you've given up your time on a Saturday to come. And thank you, and let's keep fighting.
Oh, look at these gates this morning. A ribbon for all the 2,200 people that signed the petition to try and save these badgers from having their set destroyed. Fitting memorial.